everybody, and welcome to my second in this Hidden Gems series. Yes, I'm going to take a look at the 2021 Hidden Gems that I just think people aren't paying enough attention to. And if you haven't seen my 2022 Hidden Gems list that I had with Lewis, go and check it out right now. Come back here, and you better believe it, he's going to join me right after this opening. Okay, everybody, I've got Lewis here, and we're going to talk about those hidden gems. Now, what we mean by that, we've got some parameters. These are going to be the BGG ranked games that are not in 1 to 3,000. They're not ranked in that kind of higher section. Right. So anything higher than 3,000 is up for grabs, and we are looking at those 2021 board games. So, you ready?
Yes.
Yes, I'm excited. Yeah, because these hidden gems are just those fun games that we find that we're not hearing as much buzz about. Maybe they're not getting as big a distribution or promotion, and we think they deserve more love.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're fun.
Because they're fun.
They're great.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start off this list this time with my number 3. And my number 3 is a game that we actually played at a convention and is by a very, very well-known designer who puts out a lot of FF games. I'm talking about Freedom and Freeze. And the game is Full Throttle. So Full Throttle is ranked 6,272, which is pretty low for how fun and fast this game is. It is a racing game, and it's got this really crazy dynamic of getting cards that have pictures of these different motorcycle racers on this super basic track. It's not a complex track. There's 2 sides, and the track is like, it's really small, but you do a lot of laps. You do like 3 laps.
Yeah.
And you're going to get these cards, and you're going to pick one that you're going to essentially keep and invest in because you want to score that card based on where they place in the finish after they go around 3 times. Or you leave it in the deck because this also has this drafting feature. Mm-hmm. So you're passing the deck on, and whichever cards don't get picked after the drafting phase are cards that stay in the deck and get shuffled back in for more movement, because now you're going to move these motorcyclists and you're going to want them to go far, but you also want investment. And so it's like, well, do I invest for points? But if I take too many of the really far movements, like the 3s, they're not going to move 3 because you've taken it out of the deck.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
This is a tricky game because if you invest heavily in black, then black is not going to have any cards to move.
Well, if you do, and then I do, and then the next person does, then black is really going to tank.
Right, and what ends up happening every time we play is we're like, well, orange looks like trash. Orange is way here in the back, so everyone uses just dumps their orange. Suddenly orange is zipping around the track, and everyone's like, why do I invest so heavy in blue and whatever? You know, it's great. It's really fun.
It's fast. It's a fast game. It's fun, and no matter how many times I play it, I never win. But I have so much fun.
That's the sign of a good game.
Oh,
when you don't win, but you have a great time.
I do. I can't figure it out, but it's loads of fun. I really, really enjoy Full Throttle.
That's great.
All right. What's your 3?
So my number 3 is a game that you had me play with you, and we learned it. And it's a smaller press game. It's a smaller design. The pieces aren't super exciting. And every time you would show me the game before we played it, I was like, it doesn't look very fun.
Oh gosh.
But it's so fun. It's such a good game. It's kind of abstract. It's called Mining Colony. Do you know this game?
Mining Colony, yes. Like Dr. Steve Finn.
By Dr. Steve Finn.
Oh my gosh.
So Mining Colony it's just really smart, and you have to figure out where. It's one of these games where you have different items that you can take, and first player gets first pick and second player gets second pick, and you need specific things
Yeah.
to get the points. And it's just a fun little puzzle. And I really have enjoyed it. Every time I've played, it's pretty abstract, but every time I play, I finish it and I look at Kim and say, that was so much fun. And then 2 weeks later, she'll say, let's play Mining Colony. And I'll think, I don't know, it looks boring.
It's so grumpy.
I do, I get grumpy. And then we play it and I go, that was really fun. And I don't know why it keeps slipping out of my mind. But as I was looking at the list of underrated games, that's the one that jumped out at me as like, don't forget, this game is great.
Yeah, and it's got like 2 really, really cool features. It's essentially the core mechanics. Every player has a unique deck of cards, and those are their initiative bid numbers. So everyone secretly picks one bid after they see all the available goodies, and they're in different quadrants depending on how many players you have. So you look out there and you say, I want that crystal, but I also want that astronaut, and I want that landing pad, and I really need to get a tile that's a 4 size, not a 1 size. And there are all these bids that you put onto your player board, but you bid for initiative, so you get first pick if you have like the highest number, and then it goes down from there, so you get what you want, and then you get to place it in your board and like activate all these really cool things. And it's all about positioning everything and covering up as much land as possible, because you're gonna have negative points at the end if you don't fill in all your spaces. But it's so cool.
Now there's an expansion for it, and I highly recommend
Missions.
the expansion.
It's the missions
called
pack.
Missions.
Yeah.
And it takes the game even further up. It's great.
I agree.
I won't ever play it without the expansion.
I don't want to play it without the expansion either. Yeah.
It's good without, but it's better with. So.
Nice pick. I love it.
All right, what's your number 2?
Okay, so my number 2 pick. My number 2 pick is called Dog Lover.
Dog Lover's great.
Dog Lover's really good, and I think sometimes because it's at 4,183. Meanwhile, Cat Lady, its predecessor, is ranked so like low, which is good, right? It's ranked really, really well. And I think people think Dog Lover's just Cat Lady with dogs, and it's not true. It's a different game. It's more complex. It has more juice to it.
It really
and
does.
when you play it, you have such a good time. I love dogs, so I'm going to like the dog pictures better, I think, than the cat pictures. I just do. It's just, I'm like, oh, these dogs are so cute. But you have these ways of collecting cards in a grid, a 3x3 grid, and you just go, whoop, I want these 3, or whoop, I want those 3, and then you take them and you get to put them in your area, giving your dogs like super cool, like, you know, souped up things and treats and walking them and doing really cool stuff with your dogs. But you have these things you can fit on the side that have these half circles. And so one dog is looking for this and the other dog's looking for that, and you have big dogs, middle dogs, little dogs. I mean, it's just, it makes Cat Lady, like, you know, again, souped up, but like more, it's juicy. I really, really like it.
I like Cat Lady, but I think it's a little too simplistic. And I think Dog Lover's that one step up that makes it just a better game.
Yeah.
It should be ranked a lot higher.
I think it should too.
Probably higher than Cat Lady.
I love the theme. And I really, really like just playing it. It's fun. It's fun. You have a good time, and you also have a really, really nice challenge. Just the right amount of player interaction with that shared grid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so
my number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 is For Science. I think For Science is just a thrill. It's so much fun. You're trying to cure diseases, but what you're really doing is being given patterns and then taking blocks and stacking the blocks to fit the pattern exactly. And this is all cooperative and it's timed.
Yes.
And I think the reason people probably have ranked it lower is because timed games can be really stressful.
Yeah.
And there's enough rules that you feel like, am I forgetting to do something? And every game we've played, we forget something. It doesn't matter. We've talked with the designer and he's like, it doesn't matter. Just do it.
Built into the game, it takes you time. You finish a design that you have to build with these building blocks. You have to say to someone else you're playing with, I need a check. I need someone to come and check my work, because that's what you have to do in science.
Right.
People have to peer review your work. And so
it's thematically
then
great.
You have to stop what you're doing, run around the table, look at what your friend's doing, and check it and go, oh, that's in the wrong spot. And you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, it was in the wrong spot. Or you look at it and go, you're good. And then it's been peer reviewed. And that's part of the time it takes, is to work together, not just with the global plan, but with the individual challenge that you're doing.
It's super scalable for
Yeah.
difficulty. So if it's too hard for you, there's all these rules on how to make it easier. If it's too easy, there's plenty of things to make it more difficult.
Things we still haven't even.
Oh no!
We've never been tempted to even try because we find. Yeah,
we find the medium game to be plenty challenging. But it's super fun.
Yeah.
I like real-time cooperative games a lot.
Me too.
They are scary.
Yeah.
Because you feel like if I mess up for the team.
Oh, but
you know,
it's only you
10
because
minutes.
Yeah.
And everyone's frustrated and yelling and screaming, having a good time. It's super fun. So Force Science for me is
I adore that. I adore that pick so much, and it's crazy because my number one pick is also a real-time game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's called 60 Second City.
Are you already to number one?
I'm already to number one. It's my number one.
Wow, this has gone fast.
It's gone so fast.
Wait, what's your number one?
60 Second City. Yeah, so this is a real-time game that you play with two people.
Only
so
two.
It's perfect for the two of us, and we have played it a couple times before. We got it back in a shipment last year, and then we pulled it out recently and played it again, and I just had a grand old time with it.
We finished and played immediately.
We played it again because we lost, and that's what you do the first time is you lose because you're not communicating well enough, fast enough, most efficiently. And the game is very simple. You've got a grid. It's a city in front of you. You have all these domino tiles that are 2 by 1 that have two different or two of the same pictures of different locations that you have in cities like city games. Industrial, park, commercial, residential, right? You've got those different, regions or districts. And you start the 60-second timer. And you flip over a tile one at a time. You have to put your other hand, you have to sit on it because you'll use your other hand. You have one in one hand, and when you pull it, you have to place it in the board, and it has to be adjacent to the city center or to another tile that's been previously placed.
Right.
And you're trying to achieve these goals that you have flipped over at the beginning of the round, and you have a set number of goals that you play with, and you have 5 1-minute rounds to do this. 5 times to achieve this, and you've got pollution that comes out in between the rounds, and you flip over new cards, and they're even like challenge cards if you want to play hard. You have these things that really just throw a wrench in your plans. And it's scalable too. If you want more cards, fewer cards to make it harder, easier, you can. But it's a really fun 2-player game, and I like it. It's fun. I scream and talk and, go crazy when we play. So I really do like it.
It's
and
great.
he's the only one I play with, so we must be having fun.
It's so fun.
You're number one.
So my number one is 60 Second City.
Oh no, that's why you made a big fuss.
That's why I made a big fuss.
I got to steal
she
this
said
time.
my thing and I went, what?
No.
Okay. And
2-time games in your top fun.
Oh, I know, but 60 Second City is so good. When I was looking at the list of all the games, I was going to put Force Science one, and then I saw 60 Second City and I went, I want to play 60 Second City right now.
You do, me too.
It's so fun. I guess I could give you my number 4.
Sure.
Which is Full Throttle. Oh no, Kim said Full Throttle.
We like...
So I'll give you my number 5,
okay,
which is Dungeon Decorators.
Yes.
So this is a fun little game where you're taking tiles and building out a decorator, but you can also...
A dungeon.
A dungeon.
A dungeon.
You can also decorate your dungeon, and for points, depending on how you use the tile, you can use it as a decoration or as a tile piece, a dungeon
and it's
piece.
2-sided.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick it and you're like, do I want this side? Do I want that side?
And it's got that kind of selection where you have tiles out, and then the first player picks a tile, and the next player picks one. But depending on which tile you picked, means you may be second or third next time.
Yeah, it's the King Domino selection.
The King Domino selection style.
So your initiative changes every round, but not based on passing a first player turn marker. It's by selecting the lowest tile on the stack.
Right.
Oh, it's so smart.
And I suspect it's not as highly ranked as other games because it's pretty. Like visually, it's a little less attractive. I think it's because it's as good, if not better, than King Domino, but it's not as bright. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like King Domino has those bright yellows and greens. And I feel like sometimes games that are a little more black and white tend to feel less inviting or exciting. Maybe exciting is the word. But I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. We've played it a few times, and I'm always up for a game.
Yeah.
That's my... I mean, I could have called it an honorable mention.
No. The other thing I like about it, too, is there's bag drawing. And the bag drawing, there's 2 bags of
Kim
like 50 tiles each.
You love drawing things out of bags.
And you draw things out of bags. And in the second half of the game, when you draw from the second bag, there are these tiles in there that trigger the end of the game, a lot like our very favorite game of all time, Ethnos, where if you draw the 3rd dragon card out of the deck, then that's the end of the round. Well, that's going to be the end of the game if you draw that requisite number of those tiles. So the game could last for a long time in that second half, but it could also kind of come to a premature end when you're not ready for it to come to an end.
I think it always ends sooner than you expect.
Yeah.
And I think that might be another reason people have ranked it lower, because that final moment when they're like, I just need 3 more turns, oh, the game's over, can kind of leave a little bit of a sour taste.
But it's a clever
I like
game.
It's got so
much. These 3 mechanics that just work together really well, and it does. It's fun. And maybe it's so dark because it's a dungeon.
Yeah, I think that's the reason.
Yeah, that might be it. So we've got our honorable mentions, but we've stolen a handful from each other. We did.
I will throw a few other names out there as great games that I would just as happily put in a top 3.
Okay.
Nanga Parbat.
Yeah, Nanga Parbat. That's on my runner's
That's also list. By Dr. Steve Finn, right?
Yes.
And that's a game that, again, it looks really simple and abstract, but it plays very well.
2-player game, and I think you got to get that expansion with it too. There are these kind of mission goals, just like Mining Colony, that he's been coming out with this last year as, additions to those base games. Really, really good.
Splitter, which is a roll and write where you roll 2 dice. You put 1 die on this side, and you have to put the other die number on the exact same space on the other side. So your board is split in half, and so you're always creating these mirrors, and you're trying to get runs of numbers in a certain way. And it's just silly fun. It takes 10 minutes. It's great. A game called A Little Wordy. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a word style game where you're doing kind of word thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of words. I don't know why.
Words in general?
Word games. Like word games when people
you
are like...
love Letter Jam.
I love Letter Jam.
So you like word games.
I know, but I think I got kind of tired of Scrabble.
We played fiction lately. Fiction.
I did like fiction. I'm not a huge fan of like Scrabble. And so I've got this thing in my head where I don't like word games. And so when Kim pulled out A Little Wordy, I was like, I don't want to play it. And then we played it, and I got to the end, and I said, this was great. It's so good. So Little Wordy deserves some. And then finally, Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Scrawlers.
Yeah. Heroes of the Undermountain.
Yeah, Heroes of the Undermountain. I think it's fun. I think that's the kind of game that you want to play with like
a real-time game.
Is it real-time?
Yeah, because you just run through your pencil, and you run through the whole thing at the same time, and the person who gets... The person who gets to the goal of whatever map you're using says stop. And everybody has to stop.
I have so much fun with that, and I've never gotten close to winning. I'm so bad at it.
That's fun.
But I love it.
I do. Those are really, really
What are some
fun
of your runner-ups?
Speaking of Dr. Steve Finn, I mean, he just had a run. Biblios Quill and Parchment is the roll and write version of Biblios. I think that's a dynamite game. I love that game. It's got a 2-parter. The first half of the game is building up points that you then use to bid with in the second half. And you just want to amass as much progress in these 5 tracks as possible to get multipliers. And that's really a big score for that. So I think it's a great game. It's a great use of dice, too. Mm-hmm. So I love Biblios Quill and Parchment. Groundhog Day. The game is the game, but with a Groundhog Day theme from the movie.
We have fun with Groundhog Day.
I think that's I love it. It's that silent, just staring, waiting communication game of playing cards out, and you have to play them in ascending order, and you have to make the perfect day at some point, which you have to wait to get through all the junk cards first.
Yeah.
But, if you have a full table and you're playing it and you get a win for the first time, nothing feels better than winning at that game. I mean,
another real-time cooperative.
Real-time cooperative.
Boy, I guess we do like those from 2021.
And then the last one I want to mention, because we've already mentioned a handful of the other ones that were on my list, is Roll-in-One. Roll-in-One is a golfing game with dice. And you roll different sided dice for your different clubs. So if you want to drive it, you're going to use that 20-sider, I think is the 20-siders. You want to drive it off the tee into the fairway. And if you want to chip it or you want to use a wood or, your putter, it's a different side die. And you build the course before you play. And if you knock people's balls, they can fall off or go into the water traps or the sand traps. And it's fun. Like, I have a lot of fun with that. When you pop it in, you're like, and it just goes right in the hole. You're like, yes! I think hole-in-one is like playing mini golf. It's not real, but it's fun.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, get that. So those were some
great games.
Runners up. Yeah.
Fantastic.
2021, great year for games and great picks for those hidden gems. So, if you have some, if you have those that are not in the 1 to 3,000, any higher than that at BGG, let me know. Put it in the comments below. I want to hear your picks.
Yeah,
because
tell us why.
There's some fantastic gems out there. People don't know about them.
What's great about hidden gems from 2021 and older is they're now old enough that if you can find them, you usually can find them for a good price.
Yeah, good point. All right. Thank you so much for joining me again.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we play so many games together, and we sometimes have that overlap, but it's nice to hear those differences that we might have with those games.
Right.
All right. Sounds like it's time for us to go get our dog. But thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.